everything that led me to kill this big boy. And I'm not in trophy whitetail territory. I don't have hundreds of thousands of acres. This big buck was killed on a 10-acre piece. Do the work, food plots. All right, coming up on prime time, end of October. If you live in the Midwest, it's big buck time. They're gonna start moving within the next week or two here. So it's time to get fired up. I thought this was appropriate timing to release this video because this is the biggest reason that you guys aren't gonna kill that big buck, your target buck you're after, whether that's a 100-inch deer in your area or whether that's a 220-inch deer in your area. So before I reveal what this one thing that's gonna keep most guys from shooting their big buck this season, I'll give you a good hint. I've heard this excuse so many times from guys of why they haven't killed their buck they're after or their biggest buck they've ever been after. I've heard this excuse so many times that I almost don't even know whether to believe them or not. And that's why I felt it necessary to put this video out, because I've heard it over and over and over again. And it's like, I don't even know whether to believe it's true. It probably is true. There's obviously lots of reasons guys aren't gonna kill their target buck this year. And I've released a few videos on it. One of the biggest reasons is overpressure. That's gonna be a huge reason guys don't kill their target buck this year. They're overpressuring their land. They're not waiting until the time is right. They're getting a trail cam pic of a giant buck at nighttime and flying in there and saying, I gotta go kill that thing. And they're just ruining their land, especially if they have small farms. I just have a 5-acre piece I hunt here and about a 10-acre piece at the other farm. So if you got small parcels, you gotta hunt them extremely careful. If you got a couple hundred acres, thousands of acres, you know, 10 redneck blinds, you can bounce around, hunt a different stand every day of the year, and you'll never sit the same stand twice. So I don't have that luxury. I wish I did. So you can have the best food plots. You can have hundreds of acres of food plots. A giant farm in Iowa, hundreds, thousands of acres, the best food plots, the best bedding area, 50 deer stands. If baiting's legal, hunt your property right, do everything right, but without doing this one thing, you're not going to kill your target buck this year. It's something pretty simple, and I think it's an appropriate time of year to talk about it because we're getting into prime time here in the Midwest. Big bucks are on the move. I got a cold front coming this weekend. I'm pretty excited to get in the stand. So I want to hear from you guys. What's the #1 excuse you've heard from a buddy, a hunting friend, family member, someone that's avid bow hunter or gun hunter? What's the biggest reason that you've heard of why they haven't killed that giant buck, their target buck they're after, whether it's a 100-inch buck or a 200-inch buck? I know what mine is.
Not shooting your bow, being overconfident.
Overconfidence. Put all the time of work into food plots, hanging stands, moving stands, forgetting about the basics, worrying too much about what broadhead to buy and what bow to buy. It doesn't matter if you give Tiger Woods an old golf club you find out of someone's garage that's 30 years old. He's gonna go up there and he's gonna hit that golf ball a lot further than you. The same thing goes for bow hunting. Put your time into practicing. Don't worry about having the best everything. If you put more of your time and energy into practicing and having fun, you're gonna kill more deer. So it's that simple, guys. Taking the time to practice. Don't short yourself. You put in, you know, countless hours all off season, scouting, putting trail cameras out, doing food plots, spending hundreds, thousands of dollars, some of you guys, especially the bigger farms. I have smaller farms, but all the time and energy you put into killing these big deer. And then the one thing that costs you is overconfidence and not going to shoot your bow. Right now especially, that's why I'm putting this video out. It is middle of October. We're coming up on prime time. You should be trying to shoot your bow every day. I don't care if it's just one shot, because that's all that matters. I don't go and shoot 100 arrows or 50 arrows. I know guys, oh, I went and shot 100 arrows today. Whoop-de-doo, you get one shot. I mean, you might get lucky, you might get 2 shots at a buck, but 9 times out of 10, 1 shot. So even if you're just stepping outside, taking 1 shot, that is gonna do wonders, a world of a difference than overconfidence saying I'm dialed in and not getting those muscles used to it and thinking you're gonna hop on that bike and ride it every time. Planting trees, the food plots, and going out there, having your giant buck come out, having that overconfidence and missing the deer. I can think of 6, 7 guys off the top of my head. Oh, Nate, you should have seen, I never shot a real giant buck, but oh God, I had one right in front of me and either my arrow fell out of the quiver, or I shot high, or I shot under them, or this or that. I've been super fortunate. I have not lost a deer that I've shot. I know my time's coming. It's only a matter of time. I will make a poor shot, but I'm gonna do everything I can to avoid how many poor shots I make. And speaking of shooting, target shooting, you don't need anything fancy. I bought this bow 8 years ago. This is a Bear bow. I'm not sponsored by Bear. Middle of the road bow, ready to hunt package, whisker biscuit, nothing fancy. $700-800 buy this bow. So many friends, guys I know, oh, you got to get a new Matthews, you got to get a new Hoyt bow, Nate. What are you doing shooting that old dinosaur bow? It works. I've never missed a deer with it. I'm killing deer. Put your time into this here. You put your time into shooting, not worrying about what everybody else is doing, not worried about having the nicest bow, the nicest weighted arrow, the nicest broadhead that's $80, that expands 3 inches out. Don't worry about that stuff. Worry more about going out, shooting a few arrows. I use a fixed blade broadhead, and this bring up a whole kinds of comments, I'm sure. I don't care what broadhead you use. What do I use? I use Muzzy MX3, 100 grain, middle of the road arrow, nothing fancy, not a weighted arrow, none of that jazz. I do use lighted nocks, super important. I don't care what arrows you shoot, lighted nocks, you got to see where you hit that deer. 8 out of 10 guys I know using the big expandables, the big Rage, you got to get on that expandable frenzy. Guys selling broadheads for $50 a piece. Lots of different opinions on them. I've never switched from this broadhead. Why? Because I've never shot a deer and not killed them. Every deer I've shot, I've killed. Are some expandables better, like a 2-inch Rage or whatnot? Maybe they are. I don't know. I haven't switched because I hit the deer where I want to hit them. It doesn't matter if I shoot a deer through the vitals with a field point. That's a dead deer. And this video is not a mechanical versus fixed blade broadhead test. That's a whole nother video. And you guys, there's plenty of videos out there. The ballistic gel videos to see penetration. I get a kick out of watching all those. It's neat to see. Like I said, this Muzzy MX3, probably not the best broadhead out there, but it works for me. So what you need to do is quit caring what everyone else is shooting and having the best everything, and put your time into right here, right now, this time of year. Target shooting. The reason I use a 3D buck, I've noticed, you can shoot a bullseye target, so many bag targets, with a bullseye with rings. That's great to get dialed in, but this time of year, I like using the deer target. I found, it's just, you're looking at all brown. You're not looking at reins and a red bullseye. You'd be surprised, shoot a bag a bunch, then go to the deer, and it takes a little while to get dialed in. You want to focus on where you're aiming on the deer target. For me, at least, before I got this deer target, I could hit a bullseye all day on a bag target, and then I picked up this, and I'm kind of all over the place, and I'm like, whoa, good thing I got the deer target, because you're not shooting bags in the woods, you're shooting deer, right? So I highly recommend getting a deer target. They can be frustrating. Seems like no matter which brand you buy or whatnot, the legs are always falling off, the head's falling off. It can be frustrating, but they're super nice. Highly recommend to get you dialed in this year. So I've had the pleasure of meeting some really good shooters here lately. One was an USA Olympic champion archery shooter. Talking with him, it was real cool to pick his brain. And one of the first things I asked, I said, so have you ever missed a deer? And he goes, of course I have. I think 2 deer he missed. It's a whole nother ball game. I mean, no matter how much practice you do put in, you are still gonna miss deer. But where I'm going with that is why it's super important to put as much practice into target shooting as possible. Because even if you're, an Olympic champion, one of the best shooters ever, you get that heart pounding, you got a giant buck that comes walking in, it doesn't matter how prepared you are, you're gonna get anxious, your heart rate's gonna increase, you might shake a little bit. So that's why you really got to stack the odds and do as much practicing as you can. Try to minimize the amount of shots that you do miss. I'm trying to avoid you guys from going through that. Hopefully you guys got a big buck you're after. If not, we're getting into that pre-rut. They will be showing up soon. Big bucks are moving. I'm getting a lot of new bucks. Every morning on my phone I got some new messages. There's new bucks showing up. So it's that time of year. get out and practice. Don't have that overconfidence. I've had it. I'm guilty of it. Get out and practice. Shoot your bows. No matter what bow or broadhead you're shooting, get out there and shoot it. Do me a favor, share this with a friend that you know that's had that excuse of the biggest buck they would have ever shot. And there's bullwinkle that they've been after, but they blew the shot. Share this video with them, and hopefully it'll, you know, just humble them a little bit or enlighten them that they should be shooting their bows right now this time of year. So hopefully you don't run into that problem again. Blowing the biggest deer of their life twice, that wouldn't be a good feeling. All right, guys.